This week, we talk about CICO versus CIM. What is that? We'll explain it. We talk high-protein meals, debut a new man crush, and Duey will critique my bicep curls. Let's get into it. Chock full.
Man crush. What?
Oh,
You should,
you'll see.
just for future reference, you should clarify that that's you. And
It's not,
us.
though. I thought it was.
There's no we.
I thought it was, but then you posted the exact same thing. So, and I knew we were in the same wavelength.
Oh, okay.
And I go, oh, Dewey likes this guy too.
Yeah. He's badass.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right. So, we love to crap on vegans, right? It's one of my favorite things.
Anti-zealots, actually. It's kind of fun.
Right. But, this just is not stopping, okay?
And just for people's mental well-being, it's accept that it's never going to stop.
Right.
It's not. We're just going to have to learn, cats and dogs living together. We're just going to have to learn to live together.
Well, the problem is, I don't care what any adult does, but when just so for the audio listeners, this is a New York Daily News story about New York City public school cafeterias are going vegan-only Fridays under a new policy from health-conscious Mayor Adams. See, the problem I have is that the assumption or the declaration is that that's health-conscious, that they're equating health-conscious with vegan-only.
It's easily solved.
Pull your kids out of public school?
No. No. When Adams' term is up, vote for someone else.
I know.
It's that easy. If that's not the case, and if he keeps getting reelected, fucking move.
Yeah. I know, and we don't even live there, obviously.
Right.
We're in, in the middle of cow country.
Especially with the shit that's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now, I'm in hyper watch my own bobber mode.
Right.
I'm just with everything right now. If somebody comes to me, like somebody was bitching to me yesterday about gas prices, and I'm like,
right.
So when you pulled up to the gas pump and saw it was $3.59, did you go, guess I'm not getting gas today?
Right.
No, you still got it. So bitching about it does nothing.
I know that it sucks, but I literally don't even look at the price.
I don't
I'm
either.
like, what am I going to do?
You're still going to get gas.
What am I going to do, walk?
Right.
I just have a lot less money left over, which sucks.
Right. But anyways, my point is that people are going to bitch about vegans, and I'm one of them. I've bitched about a lot of things.
And I don't care.
But I can't change it.
Yeah, I don't care if every teacher eats vegan on their lunch break.
Right.
Problem is when they equate vegan meals with health. And really the undercurrent of this is if you really were healthy, you'd eat vegan every day. But we're only going to force you to do it on Fridays. So it's just that move towards, the assumption that that's the healthiest lifestyle.
So Friday, there'll just be a bunch of brown sacks.
Right.
And
if I was a parent there, I'd be like, okay, we're
brown bagging it on Fridays.
giving you some steak cubes.
Right.
Some cold steak cubes on Fridays.
Which, truth be told, that's what you should do anyways.
Exactly. Well, right. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Compared to Thursday's school lunch, I can't say that this might not be better. It might be better.
It is better.
Because it's usually just a bunch of processed carbs.
And fat.
Mixed.
Zero protein.
Right. Barely any protein. So this may be better, actually.
Oh, it is better.
But to say that that's the healthiest option that they could do, that's where I got a problem.
It might be the healthiest option on their perceived budget.
It might. What sucks, though,
because they can't have 3,000 kids going through a district and serve ribeye.
Well, right.
And Wagyu.
Here are 2 points on that. Number one, when I discovered the benefits of meat and the badness, if that's a word, of carbs, at least for myself, and we in our family, we just got rid of cereal and all that,
yep,
and bread and everything.
Still eat Magic Spoon,
right? But you know what? I like just this morning, my wife made the kids eggs and bacon, sent them off to school.
Right,
eggs and bacon. I mean, how easy would it be for schools? And you know what they have at school? It's like some prepackaged muffin or some shit.
Oh,
it's the worst.
Or cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, it's literally the worst. Is the school's breakfast? But
go to school and have cake.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, how many conferences have you been to in your lifetime? Right? What do they always serve? It's not hard to serve a giant crowd eggs.
No,
it's one of the easiest things.
Right.
They have those big, silver, whatever, aluminum trays.
Yeah.
Of eggs, bacon, sausage, whatever. And I know eggs aren't that expensive. especially compared to prepackaged muffins and crap.
Right.
You know, you think
But
eggs would be an easy fix.
not to tinfoil hat it, but the egg lobbyists aren't as powerful.
Big egg.
Yeah, they're not as powerful
Yeah.
as the sugar pushers.
Yeah, because I wish there was like I don't know, like if I could have my magic wand and just take control of a district for a year and go, all right, we're going to do eggs and bacon every morning, you know, and just like we would at a conference,
Right.
we're just going to serve kids. And for lunch, we're going to figure out a high protein, you know, clean, limited ingredient list of foods.
Right.
And I bet I could get it in under the same budget. I just bet I could do that.
But you're underestimating the lobbyist subsidies.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying with if I could wave my magic wand.
If it was a level playing field.
Yeah, if I didn't have to deal with the bureaucratic BS of it. But because, yeah, as a rule, school lunches suck. But I just don't think that going vegan only is going to be an improvement. So that's my well, it's actually not my only vegan complaint this week because I finally watched this awesome documentary.
You know, nobody is surprised that that's not your last vegan complaint, right?
Okay, there's this awesome documentary about, you know, Vinny Tortorich is?
Yeah, but why?
I hear him on Corolla, and he's just kind of a fitness dude. I think he was like a model in the 80s or something, and he like a small-time actor. But he started making docs, basically low carb. Like his whole tagline is no sugar, no grains. That's his his hook or whatever.
Yep.
But he did this one on the Impossible meat craze called Beyond Impossible. It's on Amazon. You can rent it for $6. Really good though. He kind of ties it all together about how all these rich dude Bill Gates types are getting together to create these fake meats and just basically push it on everybody.
My ADHD ass will sit on Amazon like that with the Amazon video up on the TV, and I'll sit there and I'll watch the trailer and then I'll go back and forth contemplating if I should rent it or buy it.
Spend more time doing that than
than
he could have just by watching the
because I'm like, what if what if it's good? What if it's more of a reference material for my business?
Yep.
And I want to go back to it. Renting it twice is basically buying it.
Basically. Yeah, you might as well just buy it for $13.
I waste so much time
arguing amongst yourselves.
And then this is fun. Maybe people out there listening might want to try this sometime with their significant other. But sometimes we have date night and it's trailer night. So we'll pull up Amazon Prime and we'll just watch trailers.
Not even actually complete one show.
No. We'll just go through and we'll pick, hey, that movie looks interesting. Let's watch the trailer.
And then you just do that over and over.
We just keep doing it. Yep. Movies we've never seen. Just hit the trailer. And then, the letdown is when there isn't a trailer.
And then didn't you ever actually watch the real movie?
Once in a while. Otherwise, we'd spend an hour.
If it hits a certain threshold of like you both think it's awesome. Then...
we look at each other like, hit play.
All right.
And then that's when it says rent for $50.
Yeah.
It's like, what? But
speaking of that, I want how they do you can buy the new or rent the movie at the same time they're in the theaters.
Yes.
There's that new Kurt Warner doc.
Yeah.
Well, not doc, but biopic.
Yep.
That was like $20, but I just checked last night. It's only $5. So
really,
definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah.
American Underdog.
I want to watch that too. But and we realize that watching trailers is like going to the movies and watching the previews for like an hour.
Right.
And it's like, we don't want to miss the previews, so you go to the movie early. Well, we just do our own previews for 60, 90 minutes. Right. And rarely do we settle on something.
Yeah.
By the time we get through that many previews, we're just like, I don't even want to watch
a husband
TV
and a
now.
wife, the Venn diagram of your preferences and hers overlap very slightly.
If at all.
Yeah. I mean.
No, they usually do.
Same with my wife. She's like 90 Day Fiance and that kind of crap. And,
she likes
I'm over here watching Reacher.
Right.
And the two could not be more further apart.
Right. Yeah. Mel likes rom-coms or the super serious olden day, like 1800s.
Period dramas.
Oh, God. She just loves that stuff.
Yeah.
And once in a while, that Venn diagram does overlap, and we end up watching something where it's...
Like Lincoln.
Yeah, where it's like drama and there's...
Fighting.
There's violence, and then it's also got the ballroom love scene, and or rom-coms once in a while.
Yeah. I can tolerate those.
Yeah, some
the
of them
old
are
school
good.
ones.
Some of them are good. Some of the new ones are good.
My point about this Vinny Tortorich one is we got called out on here.
Whoa.
Kurt here said, "Hey, Vinny should be on." He was recommending to be on a different podcast, and said, "Hey, he should be on Fit and Furious."
Who's that guy?
I don't know, but I love him. He's the big pig, West Fargo. Oh, the owner of $7 Bar. Awesome.
Oh,
I never looked at
Kurt.
it. So yeah, I'd love to have Vinny on and chat about the stuff. So, but I did watch it, and it's really a good. It fast paced, I think it would satisfy your ADHD because he just is like boom, boom, boom,
Oh, yeah.
makes his points.
Yeah.
Here's why this is this, and then on to the next thing, and then boom, and before you know it, it's over.
Awesome.
So very good. All right, let's move on to. You posted this the other day, and
Got hungry.
I totally stole this.
Why?
Well, because I want to try it, right?
Oh, the meal. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the meal.
The picture. I'm like, you just use it. What do you mean you stole it? All right.
No, I stole this idea for a meal. Okay, so for the audio listeners, basically, so it says, want a low-cal option that provides a ton of volume while also hitting your protein numbers without the fat. An entire carton of Kirkland. Okay, no, I couldn't complete the volume that you did.
You couldn't eat the whole carton?
Oh, God, no.
I just did right before
Did
I
you?
came here. Yep.
Entire carton of Kirkland egg whites. Now, is that like the...
No.
Okay, the half one. Okay, maybe
The
I
ones
could
that
do
come in the box.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep.
So entire carton of Kirkland egg whites and 8 pieces of turkey bacon, 74 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, 430 calories, and it's a struggle to eat it all.
Oh, I have to force myself.
Yep. And yeah, this Herdez, whatever salsa, I got that verde.
Yeah.
You got the guac salsa, I got the verde.
Which is good too.
Salsa verde, which is freaking awesome.
Which is way better. Macros are way better on that verde.
yeah.
That
the guac has way
salsa-
more fat
Yeah.
because guac is full of fat.
Hence my disclaimer.
Right. So what I did, and here's my version of it. So this is without the salsa, but what I did is I took ground turkey.
That's what I did today.
Okay.
I have you probably saw me put it in the crock pot.
Oh, I did see that the other day.
And that's how I make it. So what I do now is I take that ceramic bowl
Yep.
and I put like a quarter of the bottom with the ground turkey, and then I just pour the egg whites in it
Yeah.
and throw it in the microwave.
Yeah, what I do is I put half a package of the ground turkey. So I don't know if it comes at a pound at a time. So basically half a pound for me.
Yep.
Fry that up in the skillet, brown it, and then I just dump like a layer of egg whites.
Oh, okay.
And then just kind of mix that all up so that it ends up like this, kind of scrambled. But what I found is this stuff tastes like Krizap.
You didn't like it?
By itself, oh my God, it's horrible.
Without
the salsa.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, you gotta season the crap out of this. Otherwise,
Dude,
it's
when
tasteless.
I put the ground turkey in that crock pot, there's like 85 seasoning bottles.
Right.
Yeah,
You got to.
from garlic and onions. You got to put onions in it.
I didn't do that, but I overloaded on the salsa. I put some hot sauce in there too.
Yep.
Like I found some sugar-free Thai chili.
Okay.
Hot sauce is really good.
Sure.
And just, most hot sauces are very low calorie, like the Tabasco types, that are vinegar-based ones are very low calorie. You got to watch it though with like the Thai chili type because those can be full of sugar. But I found a sugar-free one of those. So I did that and then that salsa verde stuff. And then it was pretty freaking good.
Right.
And hard to eat. I mean, I could eat the whole bowl. So it was half pound of ground turkey. I'd say a half of the carton of egg whites. And then
But
some of
you
the
had the
salsa.
tall, skinny carton.
Yeah, but I'd say half of what you used though. I still did. I just poured like a layer. I didn't.
Okay.
Wasn't a crap
You know,
ton
like
of egg
the
whites.
big clear glass bowl,
Mm-hmm.
like your wife would make like pancakes in.
Right.
That's what I use.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
still hardly anything.
Yeah.
It's just
calorie wise, it's low.
Yep.
And you get full, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and you're hitting those protein goals without the fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I like
a
it
good
a lot.
option. Good
I like
option.
it a lot. And it's versatile.
Yeah,
I
because
mean-
you can season it any way you want. You can
Yep.
go, like
Well,
I
you
did
can-
the salsa and the hot sauce version.
You can meat it.
Right.
Any kind of meat you want.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, the volume that it goes in your stomach and just fills everything up with the
yeah.
egg whites for the satiety per calorie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's off the charts.
Yeah, right. And hits that protein goal while being able to stay in caloric reduction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny because
Almost to a fault.
yeah, right. I'm seeing this, these questions more and more, and I feel confident enough to pipe in on people's posts once in a while. Like I saw a lady today posted on Facebook about wanting to, I don't know, fit into some dress or something. And she's like, I really need to lose my back fat, and what can I, and I'm like, you cannot spot reduce. The only way you're going to lose it is lose body fat, which is the only way you do that is a caloric deficit. Make sure you prioritize protein so you preserve lean muscle while you're doing it. I'm like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But it's funny, though, the misconceptions that are out there still, because she was literally looking for advice of how do I just get rid of the back fat?
And the worst one where I just do the meme gif, like go, just face palm, is when they say, how do I get rid, what exercise do I do to get rid of the back fat?
What exercise? Yep.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
fewer fork curls.
The good thing is most of the comments were people saying it's mostly exercise or it's mostly diet,
Oh,
but
okay.
lift weights to keep muscle or, but most of the focus was on you got to eat less. So I think it seems like the tide is turning and people are kind of realizing that more and more.
Well, and fact of the matter is, you enjoyed yourself in, you're going to have to be uncomfortable on the way out.
Yeah, there's no way to love it as much
Right.
losing as you did gaining
right.
it.
Yeah,
Impossible.
and people are like, how do I lose all this weight and get an 8-pack and not have to feel any discomfort? I don't know.
Sorry, you got to eat some stuff that tastes, not as good as the other stuff.
Get virtual reality goggles? I don't
Right.
I don't know how.
Like
there's no way to do that.
Like with the ground turkey dish, it's a sacrifice. It's not as good
It is.
as a fat-filled ribeye or, spaghetti or whatever.
Right.
Doesn't taste as good, but you can minimize your suffering
Right.
by making it taste as good as you possibly can, but it's never going to be as good as eating donuts.
No.
So you just have to.
It can't be.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
You got to pay the price, but if you can, keep that price
People
to
are
a
like,
minimum.
and then you got the people on the other side who are just as annoying is when they're constantly pounding that drum. You can still eat donuts. Bitch, you don't know that they can. Just quit making that blanket statement. You don't know if they can. Right. God, I hate that so much. They're like, you can still eat donuts. Don't tell them that.
Exactly.
You don't know that. Maybe they can't. Maybe they have to abstain for a little while.
That's funny that you brought that up because actually I'm going to bring this. Okay. So this actually is perfect here.
It's almost like we planned it. For those in Rio Linda, you probably think we did, but we didn't.
No, I had this for next week, but because I can't, I can only fit so much into every episode.
Sure.
But you just brought up that point so perfectly that we was going to talk about this. So it's a graphic basically talking about abstainers versus moderators.
Well, I'm going to crush this when we're done. So just keep going.
Understanding your tendencies will allow you to figure out which way of eating will give you true food freedom mentally. The goal is consistency. So an abstainer, abstinence is freedom. So that's somebody like me, where
I don't have this guilt of choice or the struggle.
I just have to go, okay, no carbs, because for me, moderation is impossible to do.
Right.
So it says that, removing all carbs brings food freedom. Decision of making which carbs no longer plagues you. What's II? If it fits your macros versus starches, or tendency toward all or nothing thinking. That's me completely. Mm-hmm. Versus the moderator. Moderation is key. Complete abstinence makes you miserable. Variety has always been your friend. Gray area tends to be your comfort area. Or some people can live in that and thrive in that. Whereas for me, like if I had to be like, okay, I'm going to have, the turkey sausage and then, some asparagus and 2 Oreos. Yeah, perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfectly moderated. Then my brain instantly goes, you know where the package of the Oreos is, bitch.
Right. You can't buy a pair of Oreos.
Go, you know where it is in the cupboard. Oh, your wife tried to hide it?
I'll smell it.
I bet you know where. Bet you can find it. You're like
house ain't that big.
You're like a truffle pig. All of a sudden, my powers of finding stuff.
Bingo.
I'm like freaking Sherlock Holmes over here.
Or she doesn't even hide it because she doesn't care.
I've had her do that.
Really?
Oh yeah. like, because, you know, she'll have stuff around the house sometimes just for the kids, or we bought Girl Scout cookies for whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yep.
know, and I'm like, because I'm like, can't be in the house. I'm like an alcoholic.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, you know, if I was a legit alcoholic, you could not have booze in the house for me. It just
Right.
wouldn't work. Like,
Right.
sorry, wife, you're gonna have to quit drinking too, or you're gonna have to go to the bar and do it on your own, because I'm not capable. So if you
Right.
you know want me to succeed, this is what's gonna have to happen. And is that a failure on my part of discipline? Probably, but you know, I know enough to know how I'm wired.
But you've developed mechanisms. So
Right.
So you cope.
Yep.
It's
Like, I'm not going to turn into the Casey's and buy Oreos, but if it's at the house and it's 10 o'clock at night and everybody's asleep,
yeah. But here's the thing.
sniffing them out.
But here's the thing. When you get to your goal, and this is gonna, all the AA people out there are gonna flip their shit on me, but I don't care. That's why AA is bullshit and it's outdated. Because AA says the booze is stronger than you.
Oh, right. And you have to submit,
You have to submit.
admit that you're not
Strong enough.
in charge, and
Yes.
submit to the higher power and all that.
Exactly.
Right.
So I don't believe in that with booze or food. I believe that people can, through abstinence, can change their habits. So if you get down to 8% body fat and your muscle, you have lots of lean muscle, and you plan for it, you can crush that bag of Oreos.
Right.
But not right now.
Right.
You have to get there. You have
Not
to do
now.
the hard shit first.
Not now. And not consistently.
No. And
Right.
that's where you have to separate it.
But
where
can you become that you're saying, can you turn into the moderator then?
I can.
Yeah,
can.
that's the key.
But I can be the abstainer until I get there.
Some people can, some people can't, right?
Where I destroy this, especially with my clients, is moderation never works. It's not the key. It never works. You know
Right.
why? Because it's subjective. You said the moderator would have this perfect plate and then have just 2 Oreos. Well, what if that's moderation? Why? My moderation's 6. Tell me why it shouldn't be.
Well, whatever. I'm saying the correct amount.
No. I'm just saying that moderation is subjective. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't quantify it
Well-
or qualify it either. But abstaining, it's black or white. It's binary.
Yeah. Well, you could
not
because
eating it.
because you have your macros set up, you know, like you're trying to hit so much protein and all that. So if it fits your macros, if the Oreos fit your macros, if you had the proper amount of protein and stuff,
There
isn't an allowed amount of Oreos you
But
can get
nobody
away
can
with.
do that.
Right. I definitely can't.
Well, that's why it doesn't work.
Right.
Is because I've told this story before.
Yeah.
I have buddies who all the time would say moderation is key.
Right.
I only have beer and pizza after 5. That's moderation. Well, but it's subjective to them. They can make their own rules.
Right. That's good.
I only drink on the weekends. 6 cases, but it's only on the weekends.
Moderation, baby.
Yep, that's moderation.
So it kind of dovetails and segues into this video that you sent me the other day.
video.
So
I almost have it memorized because I'm going to start.
no, who's
using
this CT Fletcher guy? Is he a
it.
fighter?
Bodybuilder. No, bodybuilder.
Bodybuilder? Okay.
Yep.
Let's watch him here.
That is the weakest fucking excuse I've ever heard for not dieting. You're not dieting for fucking taste, motherfucker. You're dieting for the results that dieting is gonna give you. How it's gonna make you fucking look. Oh, it tastes so nasty, I can't diet. You whining ass bitch. Pacifier sucking pussy. Shut the fuck up and eat that shit. That's my fucking opinion on that.
I wonder where he stands. He was kind of like a politician there, wasn't he? He just wouldn't answer the question.
Yeah, just
Just danced around
wishy-washy
it.
all over
Yep,
the place.
Yeah.
Just won't commit to an answer.
You whining ass.
Whining ass bitch. Oh, it tastes bad.
Dude, that tastes nasty.
Eat that shit. You whining
Shut
ass
the
bitch.
fuck up. It's the best.
That's great.
It's what people like me in this space. I get to say that now, even though it's super obnoxious. But we all want to say that.
right.
It's all right there. It's like, oh, you're gonna make me a meal plan? Yeah, for the right money. Oh, I'll pay you. All right, I'm gonna spend 2 hours developing a meal plan for you. Oh, I don't like oatmeal. Oh, since I got you on the phone, I don't like yogurt either. That's when I stopped.
Yeah.
I don't make meal plans anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking chef.
Right.
Just figure out what you like, and if it fits into these, and it needs to fit into these boxes.
But you don't get to be a whiny bitch about it.
Right.
That reminds me of I have some relatives that like they can't pay their bills, right? They're like super poor, but then they're picky about what jobs they're going to take.
Oh, right. You're like,
It's like you don't get to be this discerning.
it's like on Christmas Vacation when Eddie, he couldn't find a job in 8 years. Well, he's holding out for a management position.
Or in Dumb and Dumber when he goes, God, there's no jobs out there unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah, I have relatives that are, they just, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. Well, you don't get to say that.
That's beneath me.
Yeah, you don't get to say that. When you take any job that pays the bills and then work towards something you do like.
Right.
But when you're not making enough money to pay your bills, you don't get to say, sorry, I don't like that. I don't feel like
Right.
doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll do anything, but I won't do that.
Right. Yeah. Funny.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. I'll do anything it takes to lose weight and look good except work out and eat right.
Oh, shit. Okay, so it's time. We got a man crush, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we both watched Reacher on Amazon.
Yep.
Right? And immediately, well, because I love the Jack Reacher movies with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But I was pissed because you look at Tom Cruise and then you see this fella come on, this meathead, and you're like, this ain't going to work.
Right.
This ain't going to work. But then I see a couple reviews from people I know, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Oh, it worked.
It did. It's funny, though. Okay, here's why Tom Cruise is such an amazing actor. He's played multiple roles where people hated him when he was cast. Mm-hmm. Like, remember Interview with the Vampire?
Yeah.
They were like, he looks nothing like Lestat or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Because I read in the book.
he
Yeah.
kicked ass in that.
Yep.
Okay. And same thing with Reacher. He's like, well, Reacher's got to be a giant, scary, intimidating dude. And Tom Cruise is like 5'7" or something.
Right.
He's not going to scare anyone.
Right.
But both movies I thought were great.
Absolutely.
And because of his acting prowess.
Yep.
Okay, but now here is the exact opposite problem. This guy is not going to win any Oscars.
No.
Right.
He's in no danger of winning an Emmy.
But holy crap, does he fit the description
Right.
perfectly.
The army badass. Yeah.
Because when he walks into the room, you're like, okay, most people would be scared of this motherfucker.
Well, they had
Because
that
of
one
his
scene in like
intimidating
the
size.
first episode where he was like, people were moving out of the way. That when he lady like grabs her kid,
Yeah.
like it's the Incredible Hulk.
Right. Well, look at the motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he's a monster.
This dude, I mean, he's got it. He's got the size. He's got the leanness.
Yeah, he's
You know.
what 6'5"?
Yeah, totally tall. So, I mean, when he walks in the room and with a menacing look on his face, you're like, all right.
He has a presence.
Exactly. So, and that's what the Reacher fans were complaining about.
Right, right.
When they cast Tom Cruise, because like, this guy's not going to scare anybody. Right. Even though he's muscular and Tom Cruise is in great shape, but he's 5'7". He's just not
But to your
imposing.
point, he's such a good actor. That scene where they were outside the bar and those people ended up being hired to rough him up.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, let's go outside. Fine. Let's
I
do
guess
this.
I have to.
Let's do this. And he's like, oh, which one of you is going to take off? And he's like, well, I'm going to knock all of you out. And he's just deadpan straight face.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, he's 5'6", but that's kind of scary.
Yep.
Because he knows something you don't.
Yep.
And so, yeah, Tom Cruise did pull it off. But this cat was really good.
He was. I enjoyed the show a lot.
I was a little pissed off right away, and I didn't think I was going to make it because I was like,
They were going to bail on the show?
well, because talk. I hated that.
Oh.
That that opening.
Where he didn't say words for like the first 20 minutes or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shit, it was half the episode, I think. And then he talks, and he's brilliant. You know, he's a smart guy.
Yep.
But as far as the badass part and just beating the shit out of people, played it perfectly.
He did.
And of course, I'm like, where'd this fucking guy come from? So I did IMBD, and I noticed. You see where he was born? Grand Forks.
Really?
Yeah.
For all you non
Locals.
friends of ours,
Locals.
that's like an hour from us up here in North Dakota. Okay, so yeah, here's a little article on how it's funny because anytime we see these, I'm so skeptical whenever I see these articles now, how he packed on all the muscle for Reacher. And it's, it's always inevitably like he put on 30 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks or some shit with just chicken, chicken breasts and broccoli.
He also tried out for American Idol.
As a singer?
That's a cringy ass audition. Just you can look it up later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny. Okay, so he's 39.
Oh yeah, I went down the Alan Richardson rabbit hole.
Yeah, he shows his absolutely stacked physique in a recent Instagram post where he spoke about his experiences building muscle. His methods don't work for everyone, but they speak to the challenges. Okay, it says, here's a quote from him, move something that fatigues your body and heart most days of the week, he wrote. That keeps it simple, right?
That's CrossFit.
Adding that strength training and hypertrophy are not the same thing. Usually they complement each other. That's so true because you look at all these strong men. I mean, I've seen guys like just watching powerlifting videos, guys that don't look very impressive, lift crazy amounts of weight. And then, a lot of times bodybuilders are not that strong either.
Strength. That's when.
But it usually correlate, but there's exceptions all the time.
And I forget what movie it is, but there's this like redneck hockey player or something, I forget, but this redneck hockey player was facing some dude that probably looked like him wearing a tight t-shirt with a douche neck. And,
Is that the super low cut?
Yeah, V-neck.
Where you can almost see the nips?
V-neck, they call it douche neck, yeah. So the guy looks like that, and the redneck hockey player with a jeans and his flannel tucked in. And he said, he looks at that guy and goes, what the fuck are you going to do with those worthless beach muscles?
Right.
You want to find out?
Exactly.
And that's it. The bodybuilder guys, those big muscle bound meatheads that can't straighten their arms.
Right.
I'm not afraid of them. I'm afraid of the guy that's 5'10", 180 with no body fat and cauliflower ear.
Right.
That's what I'm afraid of.
No shit. Yeah, exactly. So here's another quote from him. It said, okay, high weight, low reps, think 4 to 6 will increase strength. Some growth in size, hypertrophy will occur, but not as fast as if you did lower weight and higher reps. Think you can't do more reps than 15, 25 each for 4 sets. Bodyweight exercises like push-ups, pull-ups, and dips can add plenty of size if you don't have access to a gym. All you really need is you and the discipline to push.
He's right.
Yeah.
And of course,
look at that
copious amounts of testosterone.
Well, that's the thing is whenever you see for these roles, them packing on muscle in a short time for roles, you're always suspicious.
It's under doctor supervision.
Yeah. Because when there's millions of dollars at stake, you
don't get that big.
They're going to do what it takes and remain that lean too.
Yeah. He's also,
that combination.
He's pumping Tren and Clen, and he's on a stack, and I guarantee you it's under doctor supervision.
Oh, of course.
That stack. So it's probably not going to affect his health.
Amazon provided doctor.
Right.
Definitely. All right.
But yeah, I think the show is ahead enough. I think it'll continue.
Yeah, they're going to do a second season, definitely.
Yep. The other Jack show is also really good on Amazon with Jim Halpert. That's
Jack Ryan.
Yeah. That's a great series.
He looks good too.
Yeah, he's stacked.
Considering where he started as just dopey Jim.
Yeah.
On The Office.
Yeah, with that shitty haircut. And
yeah, we got to look up him now.
But if you look him up,
what's his name again?
John Krasinski. If you look him up though and do an image search with the Jack Ryan, there it is right there on the right.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, you go from dopey Jim, right, like over here.
Yep.
With kind of a doughy face and haircut, and then he's got grows a beard,
that
grows a
one
beard,
right
and freaking.
Yeah, no, he's yoked.
No doubt. That guy could have fought Roy easy.
Right? Yeah, he could have. Dwight wouldn't have needed the pepper spray.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been scared of Roy at all.
No,
he just would have went, "What are you gonna do?"
And you know who he's?
I'm gonna take your fiance,
right,
bitch.
All right, yeah. He works out with Chris Pratt.
Oh yeah.
So Chris Pratt's same way. Yep. He was dumpy.
Chris
soft,
Pratt is even
tubby.
more because he was tubbier.
Yeah.
Krasinski was always just kind of
Lean and
lean,
skinny.
but never
Right.
fat really. But Chris
Right.
Pratt was tubby.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, these guys, have everything at their disposal.
Exactly. It's their job.
Yep. It's like, boy, this role would sure be a lot better if you were jacked.
It's like, you
here's,
need that-
Here's a prescription.
You need that Adonis's belt right there for when we take your shirt off in that one scene. How do I get that?
This
We have
right
a
here.
team of core people.
Yep.
We're going to come in
Yep.
and we're going to spend 6 weeks on just your core
Exactly.
and a nutritionist and a chef.
And
And all you have to do is
a doctor.
and a doctor. Most importantly, we're gonna be recycling your blood twice a day.
Right. All right. Well, now we're gonna somehow get into a much more impressive physique by watching my bicep curl videos.
Oh,
And remember a couple episodes ago,
we were
talking about
the kipping and leaning and
yep, and trying to minimize. We looked at Kevin Hart,
yeah,
doing the easy curl with like hip thrust,
yeah.
hip thrusting. So I took 3 different videos here. So I want you
Basically
to
cleaning it up.
right. I want you to critique all these. Okay, so here's my regular before I did anything. This is with as little movement as I could muster standing up. Okay, this is 35-pound dumbbells.
How many? What heavy?
35-pound.
Jesus, you're really working hard. It should be like 60s. I'm worried about you.
Okay, so that was my regular.
That was before you tried anything, right?
That was just how I would do it with. I was aware of like not wanting to like super. I was trying to keep the movement to a minimum, but you could tell I was still doing it.
Right.
But-
and we talked about that on that episode where it's you don't know.
It's impossible.
Yep, you don't know.
Impossible to do. Now here's on knees. Okay,
Okay.
so this minimizes the movement.
Yep, you're still rocking back.
Still, yeah, but it's impossible to stop.
Right.
That's why the next one is very revealing. The wall.
Oh yeah. The wall is a truth teller.
Oh God. But look, it's way harder though. This is harder.
For sure.
So, but it's graduated, See? I was like, damn. that
Well,
was
and now
way
you
harder.
get against the wall too, and now you're a little tired.
Okay, no. Feet out. Okay, so the feet were out, so I was pressed.
You should have had your shoulders against the wall. There you go.
I tried that, yeah. And it was way, way harder. Look at my face.
Now you're
I even said, holy fuck. Like at rep 5.
6, 7, 8.
It was like double hard.
Holy shit.
that's the best.
See?
Now the
Oh,
next time when you lean
crap,
against
dude.
the wall, do what I said before. Now go like this.
Oh, both. Oh, God.
Because you're still, even against the wall, you're still going like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because of the movement of weight.
for
it's
sure.
impossible.
Yep.
You'd have to be in a strapped in to a dolly like Hannibal Lecter.
But if you go like this with your shoulder blades against the wall and you go both at the same time, you can't rock. Because you got the weight on both
God.
sides.
Impossible.
If you pin your shoulder blades against the wall and do both arms at the same time, you might not be able to do 3.
Yeah, I don't think I could because that was double, like almost took twice as much exertion. Like it took everything I had to get 10 out,
Right.
so brutal. Brutal.
But for the listeners, even your first video
Yep.
is better than sitting on the couch.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this.
The obesity index
Hang on, I
bullshit.
gotta kill this.
Boy, there's that thing became wicked polarizing.
Okay. So,
Didn't it?
okay, yeah, this So basically this sets up the debate just to establish what this is. Okay. So this is the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity versus the energy balance model, which they call EBM, which we call CICO.
Right.
So there's two different hypotheses.
They're trying to get away from CICO.
Hypotheses.
CICO gradually started becoming a cuss word.
Right. Well, yeah, things do get stigmatized, you know, so they're trying to rebrand.
Like carnivore. They need to change that name.
Right. Well, it just sounds brutal, you know.
It does. It sounds
like you're
ignorant.
Well, you're like just an animal.
Well, it doesn't sound very scientific.
Right.
I'm a lion. Yeah, no, you're mentally ill.
Well, they're appealing to that. You know, they're appealing to the Liver King fans. You know, right. I'm a caveman.
Hey, did you keep that picture I sent you of what liver stands for?
No, I didn't.
I sent it to you.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Okay.
All right, before we rabbit hole. So there's two different theories here before. Yeah.
Too late.
The carbohydrate insulin model, and that's more of the Gary Taubes viewpoint. You know, basically that two different people eating the same exact things are going to have different results because of their hormonal responses. That's kind of, you know, so like you have to get control of that more than, but then the CICO people are like, screw that. It's just simply a math equation.
Because your insulin doesn't, here's the trap that I've discovered that people fall into, and I argued with a friend the other day about this, is he's obese, morbidly. I'll say it.
Yep.
He might listen. I'll still say it. And he sends me screenshots of his lab work and says, glucose, fasted glucose, 79.
Good, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything 55 to 99 is good. So he's right in the middle. That's decent.
So his claim is,
I can be
healthy.
fat, fuck off.
I'm healthy, yeah.
But here's the trap, and I'm changing this outlook across the board with people, is just because your fasted glucose is in the normal range doesn't mean that your pancreas isn't working its fucking ass off to create the insulin to keep it at that level.
Yeah.
So you know what we need to do is shit can the glucose test, the blood glucose level, and what's your insulin level?
Right.
So if you've got insulin to your eyeballs, then your pancreas is working triple time.
It's like, okay, two cars that are both going 50 miles an hour. If one is, you know, in the right gear and running smooth, or you could also get to 50 miles an hour in first gear with the brakes on.
Right.
And
there's
tell me how that's going to work
shit
out.
Going on, but you're still doing 50.
You're both doing 50.
Yep.
But one of these is going to explode.
Right.
You know, the brakes are going to catch on fire, and the engine's going to RPM over, you know, whatever that's called, explode from too many RPMs. But yeah, that's kind of a similar analogy.
Yeah.
Is how much are you suffering, and how much is your body and pancreas specifically overworking to get there?
Right.
To counteract that.
So my next panel is coming up this spring, and I'm going to ask for insulin instead of glucose.
So basically the debate here, okay, I'll just read this. So the back and forth in the academic community about the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity versus the energy balance, or CICO model, always ends badly for the CIM camp, the carbohydrate insulin model. Pictured as the latest publication, which nails the coffin shut even tighter. And then it produces a study here that talks about, that covers both these philosophies. Okay, then he says...
So he's saying that he's anti-Taubes.
Yeah, he says it's safe to say that any practitioner, guru, or academic hanging on to the carb insulin hypothesis, Taubes, Fung, etc., both of which I love a lot and have read their stuff, is more interested in storytelling than science. The sooner we stop hanging on to the wrong mechanisms, the faster we can progress toward alleviating the obesity problem. And then he has the studies here for people to read. So I'll make sure to.
Where was that first
here.
one from? The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition.
Yep.
It's pretty reputable.
Yeah. So, you know, and
But
I mean, you can always find
they're all CICOists.
you can always find studies that support everything. You know, ultimately, you always have to decide for yourself. And I would argue that anybody that follows Taubes and Fung versus anyone else is still doing better than if they weren't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can do better curls, but hey, if you're doing curls, you're still light years ahead of most people.
Alan, I've argued with this guy.
So just kind of interesting to think about. There's lots of comments here. So we are not all the same. We do not respond the same. I respond well to CIM. I don't do well on carbs. There's no one answer to all these tools in the box. See, and I've kind of leaned towards the carbohydrate insulin model camp. Just for me, like just my personality. Like if I limit carbs and almost don't do anything else, if that's all I did was just limit carbs, that for me is the easiest way to maintain lower body fat.
Which is fine. If
Right.
it works, it works.
Exactly.
Leave me alone.
Exactly. So, like that's why I said that anybody following Taubes or Fung, and Jason Fung is the one that wrote the obesity code.
Yep.
Big proponent of fasting
Yep.
to regulate the insulin resistance and the insulin levels.
But then and that's where they both get put into boxes because Fung's huge on fasting.
Fasting guy, yep.
To regulate insulin levels. Well, what is that?
CIM.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's your energy balance model.
Well, right. It's not
Because you're not
exclusively
eating.
right. Yeah, because it's still accomplishing what the CICO would want you to accomplish anyways, because
Right.
you're eating less.
Right.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's just fun to debate and fun to think about. But there is always these wars going on, right? Because like in the carnivore community now, like they're giving Saladino shit because he eats honey and berries and stuff. So it's like you can't call yourself carnivore. The
Because he's
purists.
not dogmatic.
Exactly.
If he learns something new, he's willing to admit it.
Problem is if you build your entire brand around I'm carnivore, and that's all you do.
Who cares? He's learning. People will trust him that way. The problem is his enemies, like this guy and Lane Norton.
Lane Norton, yeah.
He's one of them too. That when you're
Are the dogmatic CICOists.
when your opponents are so dogmatic and just ruthless,
Yeah.
they literally make it impossible for you to admit you're wrong.
Right. Yeah, because
They'll just fucking
they just dance on
they'll
your grave.
fry you. Oh yeah.
yeah. So here's an interesting comment here. It says, can anyone explain to me why consuming a hypothetical 2,000 calorie diet, purely carbohydrate diet versus a 2,000 kilocalories, is that what that means?
Yep.
kcal,
Yep.
all meat diet and subsequent differences in energy expenditure due to thermic effect of feeding doesn't disprove the CICO hypothesis, even if only in part. So he's basically saying if you just ate 2,000 calories of bread versus 2,000 calories of meat, like every day.
Right.
Obviously, in my mind, the 2,000 calories of meat person would be doing way, way better by all measurable fronts. And the CICO people are saying that's not true.
Well, no, and Alan, the guy from that's a last name from
Alan Aragon.
not a last name from
It's some sci-fi
Game
thing,
of
isn't
Thrones.
it? Yeah. Tyrion Aragon says, let me kill my father real quick and then I'll be back. With you."
Right. It doesn't disprove CICO because different thermic effects, which amount to different net calorie yields, are still under the CICO umbrella. Well,
Different
see, that's
caloric
their out.
yields. Okay.
That's their out.
Net caloric
Everything
yields.
falls under CICO.
If you're going to give different weight, if you're going to weight things differently,
Right.
and say bread has a different caloric yield than meat,
Right.
then come on.
Right. And
So
that's where they
because
tap
when
dance
you're talking
around it.
about CICO, we're not talking about intake. We're talking about net caloric yield.
Right.
That changes the whole game then.
So when I tell people, well, I burn 2,000 calories of egg whites and ground turkey quicker, more efficiently, so I can eat more than I do donuts and bread. So then naturally, I'd probably lose more weight eating the turkey and the egg whites, right?
Right.
Of course, that's simple. But then they would say, "Yep, you're still CICO."
Right. Yeah. If you're just
It
cramming,
is
cramming everything
if I'm
in
eating,
there.
If I'm eating and then they're going out, it's by definition, it's that acronym every time.
Then you know what they need to do is have a scale of what percentage of intake calories is equivalent to what percentage of net calories. What do they call that? Net. What do you call that? Net caloric yield. Basically, he's saying meat has a higher net caloric yield of those 2,000, higher percentage than the bread would.
Right.
Well, then you need to give me that scale for every food,
Right.
so I know
Right.
the equivalent net caloric yield of each food, so I can set my target caloric intake to that number, not the raw put in your mouth number.
And then the other one.
And then it makes it impossible to do without that scale, without that converting scale.
Exactly. And people.
Because there's no way 2,000 calories of ice cream a day versus 2,000 calories of ribeye a day.
No, because
Those people are not going to be the same.
No, because what they pin their hopes to is the calorie is a calorie, but because it's just a unit of measurement. Well, and you know my analogy, a mile's just a mile,
Right.
but one's uphill,
In a rainstorm.
in mud,
Right.
and the other one's on an indoor track that's climate controlled
Or downhill.
and downhill.
Right.
So tell me a mile's
Downhill the
just
whole
a mile.
way.
A mile's never just a mile.
No, exactly. Yeah. So in effect, even if the CICO theory is right more of the time, how do you practically apply that without having a converter to say, I'm going to eat this sandwich, which consists of 2 slices of bread and some meat. Okay. If the meat calories is 1,000, but the net caloric yield is 950 versus the bread, which is 1,000 calories, but net caloric yield of what? Is it more or less? We need a converter to tell us what those numbers are, so then we know what we're going to be left with.
Just the epiphany I had a couple weeks ago, and I haven't shared it on the podcast yet, but I will right now. Mostly because I forget shit. But the epiphany that I had is that guy Anna one. He knows what's happening.
Yep.
I used to get frustrated by all these conversations and all these debates.
Yep.
You know why I don't anymore? This was the epiphany I came to. And that's when I really started doubling down on Next 40. And now we're working on the website, working on the app. We have a mission statement now. Business plan's almost done. We're all in.
That's Dewey's nutrition coaching company.
Yep. And Mel's. She's going to be the mental
Mel,
health,
yep.
the mental health part of it. But here's the epiphany I had. And it's so fucking true. And I can't believe I didn't think of this until now. All of this right here, it's going to make me and Mel very wealthy. You know why? Because the people we're going to help don't give a shit.
Right.
They don't care.
They're not.
The only people who care are the other academics who want to be smarter than the other guy.
They're nerds.
Yeah. Nobody cares. What should I eat, dude?
Yeah. Your average secretary doesn't know who Lane Norton is.
And doesn't even follow these people on Twitter. They don't give a shit.
Or Jason Fong.
Right.
Or any of these guys.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. People don't care. They care how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? You idiots sit here and be broke and argue amongst each other.
Yeah. Chase the Nobel Prize.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Have fun. I'll just be over here helping people. Never mind me. So I'm not mad anymore. Keep going.
Well, and it helps your case of helping the average person because these guys are just, like you said, wanting to be right and just debating the science. And then the ultimate, your average Joe Cubicle ends up going, just tell me what to do, dude.
Right.
Like I don't understand, I don't need to understand any of this crap.
But the Lane Nortons and the Paul Saladinos of the world think if I'm the rightest, then I'm going to sell the most books or the most nutrition plans.
Yeah. Well, and it just becomes a dick measuring contest.
It's right. So you guys, it's like the dude's fighting over the girl and the other guy just takes her and they leave and they're still fighting.
Well, it's kind of like when we were debating the seed oil guy, or not even really debating because we're ill-equipped to do that.
Right.
But, I listened to the guy and was like, okay, I believe that he is much, much smarter and more educated on this stuff.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm not dumping a bunch of seed oils on my stuff. And I didn't necessarily change my behavior, even if he's technically right, in quotes, and can defend it to the, to the 10, to the 9s,
Yep.
Okay. You can be right. I'm
Right.
still going to go by the end of one. Like, this is a good comment here. He says, I respect the science, but I will just say that the optimal way for me is 90% animal-based diet with a little fruit for the remaining 10%. It keeps my blood glucose in check, hunger under control, blood pressure low, body composition ideal, and performance optimal. N of one. Boom. That's a great comment right there.
Right.
Now, here's the author's response. No one can dispute individual response to a given dietary approach on appetite and personal preference. My issue is with the fictionalization of fat cell physiology perpetrated by the carbohydrate
why?
insulin model.
But why? Why is it his issue? What is he gaining by taking issue with it?
Just wanting to be
Susie
right.
Cubicle doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he just wants
She
to be right.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
It's just academically. He wants to academically be correct.
Right.
That's what it is.
That's it. And like you said, it's just a dick measuring contest. They're
Yeah.
they're not accomplishing anything to help
If your brain,
the obesity problem.
If your brain is your dick, it's a brain measuring contest, kind of. Yeah.
It's so frustrating. But no, it's not. I'm happy. Keep fighting.
Right.
Keep
Yeah,
fighting. Keep confusing people even more. That's what I need.
That's what it does.
Right.
Because then you got equally smart people on all sides, not even both sides, 360, all the way around.
Right.
Going, do this, do this. There's 360 different views of what to do, and they're all backed up by research papers and everything. So ultimately, you're like, what do I, you know? So then you
Right.
get Duey and Mel strolling in.
It's like, hey,
Follow us.
tell me about your day.
Right.
Tell me about your day. How'd you grow up?
Yep.
What's your average day of eating look like? Not, first off, you have to understand that thermogenesis. No, they don't. They're accountants and they're T-ball coaches.
Thermogenesis.
They don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. If you're curious, we can go
Awesome.
down that road.
Awesome.
You know, like
Yep.
that was me. Like, you know,
I was a curious guy. That's how I started too.
yeah, and I always want to know like the mechanisms behind stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
why?
me. But we're in the minority.
Yep.
You know. That,
Completely in the minority.
yeah, I mean, of all the people you see at the gym or working out or that care about this stuff, very few, you know, care as much to even learn these guys' names, much less read any of these studies or, you know, all the books I've read and stuff. But that's really just for my own curiosity to figure out.
It's funny you say that because I talked to a gal who just hired me, and I said,
Where
She
can
goes-
people do you get? I don't know if your website's done or whatever, but
just Facebook's the best way.
And-
Next 40 Nutrition on Facebook.
cool.
So this gal that recently hired me, she said, "Well, what about booze?
Right here.
I noticed you helped my friend. Yep. I noticed you helped my friend lose a lot of weight and do really well, and he didn't have to give up booze." And I said, "No, absolutely he didn't. We can do that." And then I went, she's like, "Well, how can that be? Everybody says if you want to lose weight, you got to stop drinking." And I'm like, "No, you just need to be mindful and have a plan and a strategy." And she said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, there's this thing called oxidative priority where your body partitions fuel in the way that it prefers to burn it. Well, when alcohol is entered into the picture,
That's numero uno, right?
it's like, that's poison.
Yeah.
So we're going to use that.
Burn
as-
that first.
Yeah, and it's basically a fourth macronutrient. So let's burn that first. And then I said, "Does all this make sense?" And she goes, "Nope, but I don't care." She goes, "As long as you know."
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the end of the discussion. We just moved on.
Yeah. They want to be prescribed. You know, your
They
average
do.
person wants
They
to
just
be-
want to know that you know,
Yeah.
and then just tell me what I got to do.
Yep. Exactly.
That's why I'm paying you.
Yep. I don't
If I have to figure it out on my own, I'm not going to pay anybody.
No, exactly. Then they'll put the 10,000 hours in themselves if they want to go that route.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. So there's the Facebook page. So
Yeah, appreciate
like that, monitor that. And then when you have website and everything up, then that'll all be posted on there.
Website, yeah, website's under construction. It was up for a little while, but we got it under construction now. So
There's a perfect example, right? You know, trying to figure all that crap out yourself, you know.
Right.
You don't need to know
and I'm
HTML coding.
and I'm not doing it. Somebody else is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect example of hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
You don't need to learn HTML code.
Right.
Just stick to the macros.
Yeah, I'll get you some pictures.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. Oh, by the way, I got up, speaking of my I hit another milestone, 30 chin-ups.
Nice.
Doing that every morning now. 55 push-ups every morning.
Legit.
And my 4 sets of 10 benches up to 170 now. Been creeping up.
Oh,
I went up 5 pounds. I got little 2.5 pounders that I add on, and then I go,
nice.
got the 5s and the, so I'm
you should
adding
do
up.
what I do, and what we can talk about that off the air. But that's getting high reps.
Yeah.
Might wanna
Well, I think I'm going to switch to
start adding-
pull-ups.
Start adding some weight.
I think I'm going to switch to pull-ups.
Okay.
Because then I can only do about half as many pull-ups.
Okay.
So, but I'm just such a creature of, I wanted, because it was basically, a year ago that I started when I could do 6. So
Right.
it's just that much more impressive when I can do 30. And I like keeping it on that scale.
Right. Right.
So, because watching it creep up is very satisfying.
Right.
Whenever I can eke out another one.
But it's like Jack Reacher says in that interview when he says high weight,
yeah.
low reps.
Yeah.
So I played around with this the other day, and I put 245, so 90 pounds on a chain, and I did 6 chin-ups.
Wow.
But it was hard.
Oh,
But I'd rather do
You
6.
think?
I'd rather do 6 than 30.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. For me, it's just, I'm so anal about
Oh yeah.
tracking the number
Yep.
and watching it go. So that progressive overload is working. But yeah, I think, or what I might do is every other day do pull-ups and then start tracking that number.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
do them every morning. So
Yeah, and if you're doing them right, it's 2 different muscle groups.
completely. But yeah, I did them once a few months ago, and I could do 12
That's pretty good though.
versus, I think it was at like 25
12,
chin-ups at the
12 in
time.
the hollow position or 12 with your feet crossed behind you.
Well, I have one of these Amazon like power towers where it's got, I have to lift my feet. So I kind of lift my feet because I'm not,
Back
my
or
basement,
forward? Back or forward?
back behind me.
Okay.
Well, I don't have the space because it's right
talk
up against the wall. So
Oh, yeah. You should be.
you're supposed to stick your legs out like you're doing
this.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Is that the most?
Well, it
Hard part?
engages. Yeah, it engages
Okay.
your core, works everything, engages your lats more versus your shoulders and your biceps.
I might be able to get a little bit of an angle, and actually, I can probably pull it away from the wall just a little.
If you can do 12 with your feet crossed behind your back, you could probably do 8 the way I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Good
But
stuff.
you'll start noticing different abs you didn't know you had, and it helps. It works.
Yeah, because I noticed the chin-ups is all mostly bicep.
Yeah.
That's where I'm really feeling it. All right, wrap it up there, guys. So send an email to info@fitandfurious.com if you have questions or topic ideas. Make sure you're watching us on YouTube for maximum visual deliciousness. You got to check out that Alan Rickson. Is that his name?
Yep.
The Reacher guy? Yeah, you got to see that guy. From Grand Forks, that is crazy.
Born in Grand Forks.
Born in Grand Forks.
Claims Florida, but whatever.
Speaking of, I was just watching, God, what movie was it? Oh, I got in an M. Night Shyamalan rabbit hole the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I watched, because he did that trilogy of Unbreakable,
Oh, yeah.
Split, and Glass, which
Yeah.
is all about the same 3 characters,
Yeah.
Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson and James McAvoy.
Yep.
But anyways, in Unbreakable, when he gets on the train and he's hitting on that girl, I forget her name, but she was from Fargo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she's like like our age. She's like 50,
wow.
50 now. So I was like,
Your
whoa.
age.
About my age, yeah. So that was kind of
I got
cool.
a long ways to go. Before
There's some famous people from Fargo.
the wood chipper.
Right. All right. So listen anywhere audio podcasts are found, Apple, Spotify, etc. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share. Support the show at furiousmerch.com. And we will see you next week.